Hey there folks, Reza-Kaze here, and I am here to talk about air superiority and give you my thoughts and whatnot of this new game mode for Battlefield 3 Endgame. I'm going to go over some pluses and minuses, of course, like I usually do. Try to give some helpful hints to, don't want to say the nubiles of the game mode, but as I'm doing this commentary, the only people that get to play it at this point in time is PS3 premium users. What you're going to see as far as gameplay goes is I'm going to cut together. I'm just doing this audio blind, so I really don't have any visual cues to tell you, look what I just did here and whatnot. But anyways, you're going to be seeing 3 different games of air superiority, cut obviously. One's going to be in Abandoned Flats, the other Operation Riverside, and another the Pipeline. I can only remember the Pipeline part because I don't remember the other part. So you're going to see some, try to be some fancy flying, some, if I can remember exactly, I know one of these games had a nice little streak of excuse me, of jet kills and a couple ridiculous maneuvers that I probably should have just went fucking straight into the ground. Anyways, let's get into it. First and foremost, air superiority is only on the endgame maps. I sort of would have liked to see it on some of the other ones. I don't know if the maps are big enough as far as the other ones go, but I really feel that Armored Kill could definitely hold these maps, but these maps are huge, to be completely honest. As far as like the meter length between the points, it's freaking huge. When you play Conquest and Rush and Capture the Flag on these maps, or Team Deathmatch or whatever, you can see on your radar the buildings and locations of one of these things, and then they just fucking put 2 points like 1,500 to 2,000 meters out away from this play zone. So these, as far as jets go, they're really not that big, but in just terms of meter size, what the game says, it's pretty damn huge. I still would have liked to see it on some of the other maps. I'd like to incorporate those in there. I thought that would have been cool. But hey, I guess you gotta deal with it. The one thing I was worried about is, especially in this mode, people stealing other people's jets. But if you already saw some, as you can already see in this gameplay, as well as if you saw other people doing gameplay, I know one guy I'm subscribed to, Luton, he did a whole overview of everything, maps, modes, all that shit, and that was impressive. So if you've seen that, you already know what these are about. But there is no takeoff in these jets. In fact, actually in Conquest or Rush in general, on these other modes, actually I cannot say for certain Rush, but Conquest I know, there is no takeoff in jets for endgame, which I think is cool because it prevents the enemies from flying over to your base, jumping out of their plane, and stealing yours. They also prevented it by, if you try, you might see it in a game, in one of these clips here. If you try to press circle, or I think it's B on Xbox, or I have no idea what the fuck it is on PC, it will say warning ejection seat malfunction, which means you can't eject out of your jet. If you get damaged down, you can't pop out and, you know, avoid them from getting the kill. It's not going to happen. However, people did figure out still how to be a bitch in this game mode. Instead of taking the death and giving the opponents the kill, which it's still going to tick away at your ticket counter when you die. You avoid them getting the points by quickly hitting the suicide button. I think that is incredibly stupid. I think you should be a man and take the death. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but you will see many times in the feed corner, you will see, you know, the Hornet kills, the flanker kills, and all of a sudden you'll see no one dying, but you still see the person's name. That means like they either crashed into each other or they went into the ground. And then very occasionally you'll see suicide, and all that means is they went into the menu before they got killed and hit suicide to avoid the other person getting the points. I think that's cheap. I don't know if it's just me, but I really think that's cheap. I think if you're gonna die, you know, you were shot down legitly. You know, fucking take it like a man. Give them the points. They deserved it. Let's see. Am I going through negatives right here? I think I am kind of going through negatives. Yeah. The only real negative I have to really say about... Well, actually, I have two more negatives. One, you'll see it... I think I fly through it to get some evasive maneuvers going on. But some people may not know this. I'm sure most people already figured it out. With the expansion of these maps for air superiority, not everything is real. And what I mean by that is if you play on Operation Riverside, the main map they showed Capture the Flag in as the demo in the trailer, they expanded out greatly, like I said, for air superiority, and the trees aren't real. I was doing some, you know, while I'm waiting for a game to start, I will go in air superiority, I'll just like fly around and test my driving skills to try to evade without using flares, because I'll get to that in a moment. Try to go through trees, try to go between structures, close to the ground, quick turns, opposite turns, all the stuff like that. And I was like, ooh, okay, I'm getting pretty good flying through these trees. They're not going to know what hit them. And then all of a sudden, I go through the trees, and I'm like, wait a minute. I definitely hit the tree at that one. I should have died. And I'm just like looking at the trees, and I'm like, these look really weird. Like they're turning as I'm going around them. So I go down and I fly, literally just fly right through the trees. And actually on one of the other maps, I don't remember, which it's not this one. Maybe it's the pipeline map, where some of the trees aren't trees. They're just flat pre-rendered images to make it look like trees. But as far as I know, it doesn't affect the tracking thing too much. What I mean by tracking thing, I mean like the heat seekers for the missiles. If you dive into them, I'm pretty sure they can still lock on you. But if people don't know about that, they'll learn pretty damn quickly that those trees aren't real. But you may be able to sneak into the trees. They'll panic, pull up from the trees if they're following you close, and you might be able to do some evasive maneuvers to get around them. That will probably only work one or two times though, because after the first time, they're just going to be like, well, obviously he can do this, so I can do it too, and just fucking follow suit. The other negative I have to say is that there really is no good kit setup for your jets. And this kind of goes into my little tips part. You're just going to have to go feel what's comfortable, because there is no good setup. There really isn't just no good setup whatsoever. I had to maneuver stuff around to at least make myself at least competable in air superiority. First things first, your first set, which I know I had, so I'm sure most people had on air radar, but you can also have on a belt speed, beam scanner, and maintenance. I had on air radar, and obviously that didn't really do much because fuck, most of the jets are right there. You're not going to really need a radar. There's going to just be too much jets flying around on that on your mini radar. So I would suggest not using air radar. As far as the other ones go, belt speed is only good enough for your machine gun. I wouldn't suggest that. So you're kind of stuck between maintenance and beam scanning. I want to suggest beam scanning, particularly because of the second setup where you're either going to have flares or the ECM jammer. I still prefer the flares over the ECM jammer. Still people use it. I still have experience in seeing if you get your shot off before they fire their cloud, it's going to follow them until the cloud wears off and still hit them. Now, I haven't seen it much lately, but that's because I haven't been playing that much lately. Beam scanning will allow it to lock on quicker than normal. So I kind of suggest beam scanning, especially if they're going low to the ground to try to activate their below radar. I really would suggest beam scanner. Flares, I've seen people use the fire extinguisher too. You know, with 2 hits from the heat seekers, that's going to put you into the red. But if you use the fire extinguisher, you can get out of the danger and out of the red zone. And I think coupled with maintenance to heal yourself quicker, that could be a good combination, especially if you have below radar active. But I still don't like extinguisher. I still like my flares, but as I said, it really isn't all that helpful in this game mode, because most likely you don't have one person on you. If you have one person chasing you, you have 2 or 3 jets chasing after you. It's definitely tough to get away, especially when you fire your flares and all of a sudden you got 3 other jets ready. Oh, he fired his flares and they just go all missiles out at you. You're fucked. You're just plainly fucked. The other one, what is it, like heat seekers or missile pods? I never use missile pods. I'd still trust my heat seekers. Everything else doesn't really matter. Although, if you're going to play air superiority, I would suggest just throwing on the engineer class. Not for really any particular reason, except for one of the assignments is destroy 20 vehicles as an engineer. And if you're an engineer in a jet, that counts as vehicle destroys. So, hell, you might as well get that. The only other thing I could say is you're going to have to be a team player in air superiority. I got angry many times over for people stealing my kills. And I'm sure I've stolen quite a few kills as well. So they're really, you can't be getting all angry and fussy over it, because there will be kill stealing. There'll be many times you put them into disabled, then all of a sudden someone comes in with a machine gun and takes it up. It is very, I want to say it's difficult to remember that there's points on the map, that it is like a conquest type. I sometimes flew around and realize it's like it's an actual conquest game. And I hear the announcer say, "We're being dominated, take those positions." And I'm like, oh shit, there's actually points that we can take. They're quick moving like in close quarters, the points. Or if you have like 1 or 2 people on the flag and no enemies, that's gonna, you know, neutralize and be retaken by your team very, very quickly, actually. It's not bad. I knew I should have had notes for this damn thing. I can't really think of anything else for air superiority. It's a great game mode, and I know I will be loving playing it. And I think as far as the 2 superiority game modes go, air and tank, air superiority will definitely be played a lot more Tank superiority was way too... there wasn't enough tanks for everyone. So you had plenty of people getting out with their javelins and their RPGs on the ground and taking out the vehicles. And some people even sniping a tank superiority, which that's just fucking boggled my mind. Here you can't get out of your jet. You have to spawn on a jet. There's plenty of jets for everyone. Even if you die, the jet respawns instantly. So everyone has a jet. No sitting waiting around for the jet to spawn. I had something else in mind as I was saying that last thought, and now I can't fucking remember. That may be it. I may have to cut this video rather short because there's nothing else really for me to talk about air superiority here. This really teaches you how to fly jets better and to not rely on your jammer or flares. You really got to use the environment to your advantage. The hills, the windmills, trees, electrical towers, survey towers, any sort of thing that juts up from the ground, you're going to need to learn to dodge and weave. That will make you a better jet player. That will make you, it will honestly just make you a better flyer. If you get fucking jet, you can get your jet medals and air ribbons pretty damn quickly in this game mode too, because everyone's getting shot at, everyone's shooting. It's a great mode. I honestly think out of the two new modes, it's better than Capture the Flag. If you're a jet flyer, you can have a really good game or a really bad game. There's really no in between, but there's some that cancel each other out. Like for instance, I got into a game mode where the top player was 0-22, but he was top player because he took the points. And I don't know if he got like disabled and people stole his kills, but in either way, he was the top player. So you can either have modes where you go horribly negative, or you can pretty much wreck the opponents in those jets. It's like very rarely do you see someone going, like 12-12 or 14-10 in air superiority, or 8-9. It's usually a lot of deaths or a lot of kills. Actually, I did think of something else. My friend Mark brought it up. I would like to see, or we would have liked to seen, a air superiority deathmatch instead of like a conquest type mode where you don't have to worry about the points. You just go and get the kills. That is a great idea. My only gripe with it is that I don't think there's enough players to be doing that, and there's a lot of flying going around. I know it's just like team deathmatch, but in the air, it just doesn't seem like it would work 100% well. I think it would still work. The games might be just a tad bit longer than what would be ideal for an air match. I mean, these games are pretty quick anyway. The air superiority ones, I got it on. Oh, those were 100% tickets anyway, but it goes pretty quickly. It's fun. I like it. That's gonna be it for my endgame, like review sort of thoughts videos. I will still try to get gameplay, of course, for you, exciting ones, because I do nothing less. Well, I could do nothing, but that's what I've been doing for a couple months, so I'm not gonna do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the air superiority clips and gameplay. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace out.